Hey there, lady. My name is Molly Conley, and I'm devoted to helping women reinvent their love lives, whether that's after divorce, dating on and off the apps, or in their committed relationship. Why? Because I've been there. I'm a former college athlete who filed for divorce 3 years into marriage, swam in the online dating pool into my late 30s, and now I am married to the man of my spreadsheet dreams who I met 4 months before the world shut down. As a dating and relationship coach, I help my clients shift the focus from being obsessed with finding Mr. Right to shifting to herself as Miss Right Now. We build a foundation filled with clarity, connection, and confidence, knowing she is worth waiting for. Each week on the podcast, I'll bring you love life insights and savvy guests, where you will receive the courage to release programmed limiting beliefs. Discover patterns and behaviors restricting you from finding and attracting quality men, and ways to choose yourself first so you can build a foundation for a healthy relationship with yourself and a partner. Why, hello there, lady. Thank you so much for joining me on the Reinventing the Arena podcast. Before we get started, I wanted to say thank you for listening to the show. You're a busy woman, and I'm so grateful that you make time in your day to listen to the podcast. I'm curious, has this show helped you in some way, big or small? If so, let me know by leaving a written review wherever you listen to podcasts. It really helps me grow the show, and I greatly appreciate it. Now, in today's episode, I'm talking about boundaries. And like I said earlier, you're a busy woman. You need boundaries, especially if your sabotaging behavior is people-pleasing. Side note, if you don't know what your sabotaging behavior is, take my 16-question quiz that will walk you through different dating scenarios to discover what's sabotaging your love life. Now, as a recovering people-pleaser, I know firsthand not only how difficult it is to set boundaries, but how to keep them so that you set yourself up for success in a variety of areas in your life. Part of the reason why it's difficult for most of us women to set boundaries is because we've been conditioned to be of service or just to be givers in general. Of course, this is becoming more recognized, and a lot of us are more aware of how maybe our society or even authority figures have taught us to be givers or of service. So when we first start to set boundaries, there's a few emotions that can come up. Usually the first one is guilt. Another one is the fear of disappointing other people, and then worrying about what other people are going to say when you set boundaries or make changes in your life that reflect that you have boundaries in the first place. Then, of course, there's the fear of being judged and the fear of being left out. We could talk about these fears for the entire podcast, but I rather focus on how you can take your power back by starting to set boundaries. First and foremost, there's this author and therapist called Nedra Glover Tawwab. She has a book called Set Boundaries, Find Peace, a guide to reclaiming yourself. And in that book is one of the most powerful sentences about boundaries I have ever read. Here it is. Your boundaries are a reflection of how willing you are to advocate for the life that you want. Let that soak in. The boundaries that you create for yourself are a reflection of the type of life that you want and how willing you are to advocate for that life. She also talks about how creating boundaries is actually a skill set that is taught to us, which is why for women, it's hard for us to set those boundaries because most of us, we were never taught how to do this. Now, I'm not a parent, but I have a few friends that are, and I'm an aunt as well. So one of my good friends has 3 boys, and she's working with them and her family about physical boundaries. For example, her mother, obviously she's the grandma, she's always like, come give me a hug or give me a kiss on the cheek. Even though these are well-intended ways that she's, wanting to interact with her grandchildren as well as being able to show affection, these are still actions that the boys must learn are options for them because they don't have to hug people. They don't need to kiss people on the cheek. Think about this. As they would grow up, they would think that this is, quote unquote, normal behavior on how to treat a woman on an everyday basis. Some women, or maybe even most women, have very defined physical touch boundaries. This behavior could cause, a lot of different issues in the future, which is why my friend is trying to communicate these issues with her mother. So, another example, when my husband and I see our nieces and nephews, people like to say, "Go give Aunt Molly and Uncle Brad a hug." I always give them another option. My favorite one is like, if you don't want to give me a hug, that's okay. You can give me a high five, or you can just say goodbye. I have a nephew who is 11 years old, and he is so excited to give me a high five. It's a completely different way of interacting with a kid and teaching them that there's different boundaries without saying, "Hey, I have a boundary. I don't want to hug you, even if you're my aunt." And by giving my nephew and nieces different ways of interacting, it gives them permission to have another choice. It also shows them that if they don't hug me, I'm still going to accept them instead of being upset that they don't, or in the way that they've been told to interact with me. You see how that works? Even how you can engage with children? So think of how that would be for you as an adult. Now, I've also shown you ways to give people, now that I've shown you, now I have shown you a way to give other people their power back by giving them an option that makes them feel more comfortable in the realm of physical touch. So think of the different ways that you can empower your family members by making a new choice. Okay, so let's focus back on you. Repeating the quote from Nedra, your boundaries are a reflection of how willing you are to advocate for the life that you want. What life do you want? What would your life look like with a loving partner? What would your life look like if you had the job of your dreams? What would your life look like in, 5, 10 years down the road if you accomplished some of the things that you desire most? Yeah, I know. This is a lot of those hypotheticals and situational things, but it allows you to just start expanding your mindset and dreaming of what things could be for you in the near and even distant future. Most of the time, when my clients come to me, we really don't get into this vision sort of process until further in their coaching, package or duration. But at the same time, this is why having clarity around what you want is so important because it allows you to build boundaries for the long term. And to layer onto that, most of my clients think boundaries are a way to state a boundary with someone else. While that's still needed most of the time, the reason boundaries are getting broken is because, we allow them to. We allow ourselves to give someone a second or fourth or even 10th chance. We allow someone to cross the line on how they treat us. We allow the man that we're interested in to call us at 2 a.m. after the bars close and want to hang out. Those moments are where we have to stand up for ourselves and advocate for the life that we want. So, how do you do this? How do you take your power back? This is a trick question. I want to know what you don't want. And speaking from a person, like I said, who's a recovering people pleaser, I didn't figure this out until my late 30s when I was dating. I wanted so badly to meet someone and fall in love and have somewhat of a typical fairy tale ending of a story. So much so that I would bend over backwards to have a relationship. And that meant I was screwing myself over a lot. That meant staying up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday night when that's when the guy said he was available to go out and he wanted to stay out all night long. That meant skipping my workouts because an ex-boyfriend of mine needed to be driven to work. That meant canceling plans with friends and family members because I was too hungover from the night I went out with the guy I was dating. All of these different things added up to me not holding myself accountable and advocating for the life that I wanted. So, when you know what you don't want, because you've already dated what you don't want, or you see how your friend's boyfriend, fiance, or husband does X, Y, Z, and you don't want that, or maybe your parents have this horrible relationship and you don't want that, you need to then take what you don't want and reverse it into something that you do. So, with the examples of my past self, these would be along the lines of like, I don't go out on dates on Wednesday nights, or I only stay out till 8 p.m. during the week. And if he didn't like that, tough shit. I like to sleep okay, and I like to be able to function at work. I don't know about you. But those times on the weekends when you would go out and have a great time, but then end up having to cancel with like friends and family member because you're so hungover, this situation is a double boundary set, meaning you're going to have to set boundaries with yourself and you're going to have to set boundaries with the person that you're out with. Maybe you say, I'm done drinking at 11 and I'm going to go home at 1 a.m. Or I have a commitment tomorrow at 9 a.m. I'm only going out till 10. Or even if you're someone like me, I have reduced the amount of alcohol that I've been consuming. It could even be, I will go out with you for dinner, but I'm not going to stay out late, to go out and drink. Those are different ways to stay within your boundary without saying, I don't do this, or you don't have to do that. Now, the one that I mentioned about my ex-boyfriend, I'm not going to lie to you, this took me so long to do because the situation that I was in was that I was a giver and a fixer. And if you haven't listened to the podcast before, a fixer is someone who thinks that they can fix the person that they're with. The fixer sees potential with, that said boyfriend and wants to fix him and show him that he has potential, as well as the potential that they have together in a relationship. And the hope is that if he figures it out, he will madly fall in love with you. Now, that's not how that works. You cannot change people, and I'm going to tell you this, even if he does change for you, there could be some resentment and the relationship could fade away. For me, learning this lesson with my ex-boyfriend took a year for me to get fed up with because of what I was sacrificing for myself. I was sacrificing my morning workout. I was sacrificing getting to work on time. I was sacrificing my sleep, and I even missed out on certain work functions and duties that hindered me from getting a fucking promotion. Like, what the heck was I thinking? When you're in a situation like this and there's no ring on your finger, there is no reason why you should sacrifice yourself for a man that cannot take care of himself. You need to go back and listen to the episode where I talk about a man-child because that episode was very much inspired by my previous 2 boyfriends before I found my husband. Right now, think about your past relationships. Maybe you can think about those things that you had to put yourself through. What have you learned from those past relationships that you don't like, that you would change into what you do like? One of mine was, I'm no longer dating someone that disrespects my workouts and my sleep. My husband is a unicorn. He is the first person in my entire life that has ever woken up before me to work out. And I'm a former college athlete. He used to wake up at 4:15 a.m. I used to wake up at 4:40 just so I could make it to swim practice on time. I would get in the water at 5:30. Like, that's insane. That's why I was so intrigued, because his commitment to getting up. But when I found out that his gym was in his apartment building, I'm like, wait, what? When you have someone who obviously does similar things or has similar interests as you, more than likely, you don't ever have to communicate that boundary because they also respect that area of their life. So they're going to respect that area of yours. Okay, let's say you have all those figured out. You've decided what you don't want from your past relationships, and you have shifted them into what you do want in your future relationships. From here, once you know what you stand for and what type of life you want, this is going to help you create structure and create routine for yourself in your everyday life. It allows you to be flexible with who you let in and out of your life, including friends and family. You're probably not going to want to party with your friends all night long on a Wednesday if you already made this boundary with someone else that you date. When you create boundaries, you will want to be consistent on how you not only set the boundary, but remind yourself these boundaries are for everyone. And sometimes, as ambitious women, we are not good at setting boundaries with people that we care and love the most. And of course, this means new people that we are excited to get to know and want to spend more time with. And when we think about setting boundaries with people that we care about and love the most, that's when one of those feelings I shared earlier in this episode, like guilt, the fear of disappointing someone, the fear of being left out, all of those are going to come up and they're going to feel a lot stronger. Know that taking your power back from these people will take time, and it's going to take dedication and consistent effort. One way that I help my clients with this is to think about people that cross your boundaries who might be in your immediate family or close friends. Practice setting boundaries with them first because it's going to help you build confidence when setting boundaries in your romantic relationships. So let's pretend that, one of these scenarios is it's your best friend. All right, let's make a scenario where this is your best friend and you want to set a boundary with her. This best friend wants to hang out constantly, but then she has this habit of canceling on you last minute. Because of how she's acting, it really isn't allowing your friendship, to continue to grow. It could even leave you wondering if you're friends at all. Maybe she still sends you like funny memes or texts you consistently, but she never makes time to see you face to face because, she's constantly canceling on you. The next time you two would set up a time to meet, whether that's for coffee, a workout, dinner, or whatever, make sure you are prepared emotionally and mentally that she's going to cancel on you. You will also have a response ready to send her when she cancels. So when she cancels, what do? Being able to say something that still is empathetic is important for you to keep this relationship if that's something that you want. Possibly saying something like, "I'm sorry to hear that you have to cancel. I was really looking forward to spending time with you. This would be a time to have an open discussion about your friendship and communicate your feelings." Or you could take a different route. When she asks you to hang out, you can say something along the lines of, "I would love to see you, but there seems to be a pattern of you canceling plans with me. I want to devote time to our friendship, but I feel like I can't count on you." This might take your friend back by surprise, but it needs to be communicated that you're wondering about the friendship and you're wondering about her level of commitment. Now that we walked through that entire scenario of your best friend canceling plans on you, I want you to take her out of the conversation and pretend it's a guy you're dating. How did that feel? Did it make you feel anxious? Did it make you feel confident? Take note of that because it's going to help you realize different people will be easier to set boundaries with and in different situations as well. The more in tune you are with yourself and trying to communicate your boundaries, it will allow you to develop this skill set and take your power back so that you can live a life that you want and you can advocate for yourself. If you'd rather have the hands-on assistance of working through and developing better boundaries, apply for the 8-week group coaching course, Building Love Inside and Out. Applications are closing Friday, September 1st, and I'm only accepting 10 women. Now, for those of you who already applied, like I said last week, I will be reviewing your applications on Friday before I go out of town. If you are accepted, you will receive an email by the end of day on Monday, September 11th. You might even receive your acceptance email before I go out of town. Each week, we will be working through my framework to help you peel back the layers of you, challenge your limiting beliefs, interpretations, assumptions, and all the myths around dating and relationships. We will also narrow down what sabotaging behaviors and dating patterns are keeping you stuck before creating part of your foundation of care, trust, worth, and love for yourself. From there, we will focus on boundaries to help you focus on the love you want and sustain for the long term. Plus, you're going to get crystal clear on what you want in order to date with intention and step into your future self with confidence. Have an internal sense of knowing so that you can efficiently date while still intentionally choosing yourself. Today's topic of boundaries is week 6 of the 8-week course. We will talk about boundary myths, creating boundaries for yourself and in your love life, and how to communicate these so you can remain focused on the love life that you want. You only have a few more days to apply, so please get your applications in as soon as possible. You can find the link in the show notes. Have a wonderful day, lady. I look forward to chatting with you on Thursday, where I cover intentional dating. Thank you for listening to this episode. If this show has helped you in some way, big or small, please let me know by leaving a review wherever you listen to the podcast. It really helps other women just like you find the show. Have a good rest of your day, lady, and I will talk to you next time.